Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Take it, Vinny. Vinny Valentino is here. Oh, yeah.
everybody. Happy Wednesday, and welcome to the studio. Today is a grand day because I've got my great friend, Vinny Valentino, here, and we're going to talk all about all kinds of things. And speaking of, those were some play-along tracks that we'll talk about here in just a minute, featuring Vinny Valentino and Steve Smith on the drums. And it's an honor to have Vinny here. And before we start the interview, I'd like to welcome my guests from around the world. Rudy in Europe, Pietro in Italy, hey, Nuno in Southern California. Nuno, how are you today? And let's see who's here on a regular Facebook page. We're going to have so many wonderful people visiting us, and I'm honored to bring on Wednesdays the people that I admire. And that's the name of this series, People That I Admire. And you know, this gentleman that I'm going to bring up right now is someone I really admire a lot because Vinny is just an incredible person, as you're going to find out. And so without further ado for me, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch the camera, and we're coming in. Vinny, here I come. Let's see. There you are. Hey, what's going on? Hey, Vinny. I can hear you.
Great. How you doing, man?
Man, you know, man, a friend of mine often refers to this as saying we're making lemons out of lemonade.
Yeah. Instead of the other way around.
Boy,
of course.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah. Boy, you're really a pioneer when it comes to this, Tony, because I don't know if the people that watch you really know what's going on here. I mean, it's amazing to me because you found a way to keep performing and keep your thing alive, all within the confines of your home. It's amazing.
Thank you very much. Well, you know, Vinny, I was lucky, you know, like we talked about this at one time, that I was already kind of set up because of my geographic location of what, you know, doing online lessons when I was home in between road tours, you know.
Yeah.
So I kind of had that going, and I was kind of dabbling a little bit with the trying to do, you know, live streams. But soon as COVID hit, man, I had to accelerate that, you know, and here I am. So, but I kind of was already ahead of the curve a little bit. So I consider myself blessed, basically.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So.
I would say, I mean, I see so many people struggling to do this stuff, and they get on there with their phone and the audio's not great. They get on there with whatever camera they bought at Best Buy or wherever, and it's just subpar, you know, but you've combined what you have, you know, technically and your skills as a player and put out an awesome stream every time you do.
Wow, thank you, Vinny. Thank you for recognizing that. Hey, I'm just doing what I have to do. You know, we're musicians. We're survivors, you know.
That's it.
People don't normally get to see this view, but just to tell the viewers what's going on, I kind of feel weird like I've got my back to the audience, but I don't because they see us like this. I'm usually like this, you know, so I can see the comments. Yeah. But I just wanted to say that what they're seeing now from this angle, they normally don't see it. This is the side view, and I've actually, from a student of mine that's a gamer guy, he told me how to get my Macintosh window into my live stream by using a video capture card. So basically what I'm doing is I found that when I tried to do these Zoom interviews in the past, that it would mess up my broadcast because it was too much data for the CPU to deal with.
Right.
So this way what I'm able to do is I'm actually running the Zoom meeting that we're on a separate computer, and I'm just feeding the video into the feed and taking the audio out into the mixer into that feed. So we're running two computers at one time, really.
So you run. I've tried to do that myself, you know, through OBS, right? You use OBS.
Yes.
Now, but the thing I've had trouble with is the audio. And going in and out and coming back and forth, it just seems, but you're doing it all externally through a mixer, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm actually I've got, you know, I've got 3 audio cards going on. One back there right now. That's the one that's feeding the Instagram. So I have a little DBX unit that I'm able to master the sound a little bit, you know. So I have one audio card here and one audio card there that's getting the mix that's mastered for the main feed. Then I'm using a separate audio card on this computer and taking that out and putting it into the mixer. So I got this audio running into the mixer, so I could turn you down or up or down. But I also, my OBS software, because of this little video, it's a USB thing, Vinny. They're not that expensive. They're like $50. My OBS sees, basically I take the monitor out here, you know, like if you got a video out, HDMI or whatever, right?
Right.
The HDMI from here is going into this little USB thing, and then when I plug it into the USB in on the main computer that's broadcasting, it sees it as a camera.
Ah, I see.
So I choose this as a camera, and then I dial in the audio from the audio card, and it's in stereo in complete control, and it sounds really good, and the broadcast is not getting fouled up because of too much data, you know.
Well, like I said, you know, you spent some time dialing it in, and I don't know if your viewers realize what we go through to do that. But most musicians, I will say, unless they're in a studio and you know, have professional gear surrounding them, and video gear, as you know, is some of the most expensive gear. You're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you,
giving
Vinny.
the listeners, you know, all they deserve.
Thank you very much. I think it's important because, you know, I try to tell everybody the truth. We're entertainers, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to keep the entertainment value up, you know.
And you're doing just that.
Thank you. You look great, Vinny. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing okay. You know, I've had a heck of a year, as a lot of people have in 2020.
Yeah.
But me especially, you know,
I didn't tell anybody, so you can tell them your story. I wanted to keep it a secret because it's yours, you know.
Yeah, you know, back in March of 2020, let me shut off this fan. Hold on a second.
You were on the road, I think, when this started to happen. You'll explain this, I think.
Yeah. We were on our way to Australia, you know, of all places, and we were doing a major tour, and slowly but surely, the dates got canceled. The Japan dates, the China dates, and the last was was going to Australia. So we were starting out in L.A. at Catalina's, you know, in L.A.
Now, you were traveling with Vital Information, correct?
With Vital Information.
Steve Smith and everyone, yes.
Unfortunately, I had a stroke on the last night that we played. So you can imagine, I mean, it was a pretty minor stroke in that I didn't lose my my ability to walk or anything, you know, the use of my limbs and whatnot. But it was major to me in that I lost a lot of my playing. And I kind of feel like we're at 56 years old, you know, I'm starting to hear and play the way I want to. You know, all these years of developing and working on it, and I've gotten to the point where I start to hear and play what I want to, and then all of a sudden that's yanked away, just taken away. I'm come back a long way, and I wouldn't say that I'm 100% now, but I'm pretty close to it, and I feel like I can contribute now, and I have something to say. But it's been a challenge. It's been a challenge, not only COVID, but it's been a challenge.
So what city were you in when you had this stroke?
L.A. I was in Los Angeles on our way to Australia.
At least you were in the States, you know?
Right. You know, and thankfully, I was surrounded by great great people, and family really. And I know that the promoter, the guy that runs the drum fantasy camp, was there and happened to be there every night that we played at Catalina's, Steve Orkin, and he right away noticed something was happening, and kind of encouraged me to go to the hospital and took me to UCLA. Steve and his wife were there too, which was a kind of a miracle, and because his wife got their daughter-in-law on the phone. I'm sorry, their daughter on the phone, who is an EMT, who was able to say, "Look, these are if you're having these symptoms, then you should go." And one of them was speech, and I was having a hard time finding my words.
Oh,
So,
man.
I agreed, but the whole time I'm telling Steve, this is going to be crazy because I'm not going to be able to go to Australia. If I go to the ER,
You knew you
I'm
weren't
gonna be
going on the
stuck.
road. Isn't that terrible? It's like which one did you really want to go do? You did take care of yourself or go on the road?
Right. That's the way I thought. And,
Yeah, I get
and I
it.
was also, it just couldn't imagine that that was happening to me.
That had to be very scary. Now, you hadn't played that gig yet then? This happened ahead of the gig, or was it right on the
Well, it did
stage?
happen ahead of the gig, but I mean, luckily I played the gig, and I at one point I looked over at the keyboard player, Manuel Valera, who is phenomenal musician, and I said, "Hey man, I'm having trouble getting the melodies out." And I play, a lot of the melodies
Yeah.
in Vital Information.
Well, you do on Groove Blue too.
And he said, "Don't worry about it, man. I got your back." And so he took over playing a lot of the melodic stuff. But I've seen a lot of neurologists and gone through quite a bit in the process of recovery. And one of the guys that I spoke with said that being on stage and putting your brain through what goes through during improvisation of jazz and everything that goes along with it was probably the best place you could be.
Kept
To have
your
a stroke,
brain working.
because you're exercising so much your brain
Wow.
when you're playing music, when you're improvising, that that was a good place to be, and that's one of the reasons why it was such a minor thing.
Man, you're
It's-
so blessed, that at
Yeah.
least you were in the States and you had friends, but that doesn't mean that was a blessing. I know that you've been struggling. We've talked throughout the year, and you're sounding good. You're starting to come back, man.
Yeah. I was playing
Wow.
along with the Boogaloo.
I looked over there. I saw the guitar.
Yeah.
It's like being on stage. It was like a deja vu. It's like, wait a minute. There he
Yeah.
is.
I so much enjoy being off to the left or the right of you when we're on stage and looking at your smiling face and just getting into every note.
Oh, man.
It's-
Well, you
it's
make
so
me
much fun.
smile, man. You're such a great guy. We met, ladies and gentlemen, at a NAMM show. And I was endorsing Hammond, but, there was some political stuff going on that year that they didn't bring me. It was like the third year that I'd been at the NAMM show. The first 2 years I was with Hammond. But, these companies always got political stuff,
Yeah.
So there was some political reason why that year they didn't invite me to come. And Cakewalk calls me and says, "Hey, what are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I guess I'm coming to work to display, the Cakewalk software." And that's where we met.
Yeah.
That was crazy. We played together, showing that. Wasn't that nuts?
That was nuts. I mean, we just clicked from day one. I would say from day one. I mean, you're such a pliable musician in so many ways, and it was great from. I didn't know what we were gonna do.
We just
We were
played.
no amps. Or
Then you
nothing.
told
We
me you
just-
played with Jimmy McGriff, and I loved you instantly.
Yeah.
Wow, Jimmy McGriff. Wow, what a story there, huh?
Yeah.
Man.
history, man. The minute I stepped on stage with him.
Wow, that was crazy. And then, next thing I remember, I saw you. We were waiting in line in Jakarta, Indonesia to get our badges.
That's
Like,
right.
Vinny. It was like a fresh breath of air for me because it was my first time flying all the way over there. That's dark,
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
dark going way over there. And then you were there, and it was like, wow, okay, I feel safe again, And then, it was in Indonesia that we hooked up with Steve. And
Yep.
Groove Blue was born,
Was born. I had been telling Steve about you for since even before I got into Vital Information. I think 2004 we played, and I had been telling Steve, you got to check out this organ player. It will be an instant hookup, and he was has his hands in so many pies that it was always a matter of time. So one time we were doing the Drum Fantasy Camp, and I said, hey, Tony lives in Cleveland. We could drive down Tony lives in Columbus. We can drive down to
Everybody
Cleveland.
thinks I say I live in Cleveland, but I know
Yeah.
because you guys were playing in Cleveland.
We were playing in Cleveland, and I said, let's do the 2.5 hours and drive down there and make a record. And he goes, okay.
That was
And
great.
the interesting thing is Steve is at the point in his career. He's a legend. He likes to have his drums wherever he goes. And I appreciate that. I learned so much from him and the way he deals with that. He's so particular, but to a point, it's so that he sounds as good as he can in every situation. And he's not at a deficit.
Yeah.
But he said, well, what drums will I play? I said, well, we'll just use Tony's kit that he's got in the house there. And surprisingly, he said, okay.
I know that's unusual for Steve, right?
Because
I know how he is too now. He's very meticulous, and he must be. His name is riding on it, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what a real star is supposed to act like, but he also acts like a real gentleman. That's what I love most. I think we both appreciate that.
Yeah.
We can.
I've spent, like I said, since 2004, and it's been great. First of all, he looks after you so well on the road. There's no other band leader that does that. It's been a pleasure working with him. I've written for him, worked with him on many levels, and it's been a joy.
Yeah.
Every minute of it.
Yeah. Well, I think like kind of attract because
Yes.
I know that the first time I was very nervous, even though Steve would say to us, this is the Groove Blue organ trio, so we're all equal, and I've worked with other people, that there's a lot of things that are said, but then when you go out on the road, you see the way it really is.
Yeah.
And it really was that way. And the first time I knew what Steve was really about was that one time he didn't like where we were staying, and he put us in another hotel, and he bought us dinner. I was like, whoa. And it didn't come out of our tab,
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, what lucky we are, right?
Yeah.
Wow, man. So I just feel honored to be a part of that with you. And, we have a new record in the can. You're going to be mixing that down soon, I think, now, right?
We sure do. I've got it halfway done, and we're at any moment. I'll spend the 2 weeks that it take to get it finished, and we'll get it out there. I feel so good that this is one of the first projects that will be, on the horizon for the return. It'll be.
Me too.
We've all been kind of waiting to get out there and perform like we used to, but to a certain degree. I know you've been through a lot of challenges too in your life. I remember we were luckily off the road when you, I think, broke your shoulder, was it?
Man, that really sucked. You know? I was riding my bicycle, I was getting in the best shape of my life, and of all things to break your right arm, But the good thing, you're absolutely right. So, like, I was like 3 months unemployed before COVID started, and I'd only played 2 gigs coming back. I went to the West Coast and played something with Jeff Hamilton, and then I went to Indonesia, and I played a gig in Indonesia, and then that was it. So
that was it.
Yeah. So in the last over a year now, I've been unemployed, and so like I said, I was already starting to try to figure out a way. So I got a head start. So maybe breaking my arm was a blessing.
Yeah.
Well, it
You
wasn't
hate to
that
think
fun.
that, but,
It wasn't fun. Like your stroke, they're
Yeah.
never fun, But I think when we come out the other side with something to talk about and laugh about, then it's a growth experience. What do you think?
Well, I think we'll have some things to laugh about for sure when it comes to all these things. Yeah, it's you say to yourself, well, you're going through the process. Why me? And you think, well, why not me? I keep coming back to that. And I know you probably did too with your shoulder and why not me? It's the tenacity that got me here, and it'll be that same tenacity that'll get me back.
Yeah, and you'll actually be a better Vinny, like we talked about this, because I think for me, like when I told I had some other problems that were major problems with nerves and stuff like that, and each time that I had to come back and learn how to do what I love to do the most, it had to be a different me, but a new me, but I think a more grateful one.
Yeah,
and I think
definitely.
the music that comes from a grateful heart, can't be touched.
No,
can't be.
It's
touched.
honest.
It's honest, man.
Yeah.
And I know you, man. I can't wait to get on that stage with you again and laugh.
And we do have some fun.
Remember that Frankenstein organ in Germany that kept popping all the fuses everywhere?
Oh, jeez. Every time Tony played a C7 sharp 9, the whole place would blow.
And then Steve was like couldn't find us, so he started the second set without us.
Yeah.
We were all all so rattled. We were doing that. What did you call that series? You guys got to go look it up on what's your Instagram account?
What was it? Instagram is VV Guitar.
VV Guitar. We would do it like behind the green room, in the green room.
In the green room. We
were doing in the green room talking about Frankenstein, and Steve couldn't find us, and he just went and started playing. Oh, that was crazy. I kind of felt like, oh boy, I know it's a trio, but maybe we're going to get fired. But you know what? It didn't faze him at all.
No, it didn't.
He was just kind of glad to see we were showing up for the set.
Yeah. Oh, man.
That was the best.
Yeah.
And then the dinners afterwards, though, you got to admit that the green room dinners sometimes are just so delicious after you worked real hard and
absolutely
traveled all the way around the world to get to where you're going.
Yeah.
Man, remember that beautiful theater in Russia?
Russia, right. I mean, that's the boy, we started off the tour there. I think we started that tour off in Russia, and it was packed.
That was unbelievable.
And I remember thinking, wow, the rest of these gigs have got to be great because this is off the charts.
Yeah, and they were all the way through Ronnie Scott's, man.
Yeah.
That was a nice tour, remember? That was a great tour.
I've got some video. I've got some good video of Ronnie Scott's.
Yeah.
And boy, that one night I remember the do you remember that friend of Steve's
we went to dinner in England?
Yeah.
That real smart dude that knew everything about everybody?
Yeah. Well, exactly. Well, he was the manager for Dire Straits.
Yeah.
Mark Knopfler and Dire Straits for many years.
Yeah.
I forget how many years, but anyway, he said to me, and to us that night that was one of the best gigs he had ever seen.
That's amazing.
He'd been to Ronnie Scott's many times, and he said, hands down, I'll never forget that gig.
Wow, that's
and coming from that guy.
What a great guy, man. He bought us dinner and everything.
Yeah.
Man, Steve knows some pretty good friends,
Yeah.
That was a great dinner. Remember that?
That was.
They all are when you're when we're together, right? It doesn't matter what we eat, too.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think
so.
Yeah, please.
I was going to ask you what if I can pick your brain on what you're working on. What's new on the? I mean, because another part of this is of course the teaching thing that you've done, and dialing that in there and offering a subscription to it, basically a subscription to your brain, and if you can give some insights into exactly what you're working on right now, like within the past couple of weeks.
You mean like what I'm really working on? I'm working on something I've never been good at before, and that is that in order to grow now, because I'm starting to feel like, a lot of times we have to take gigs that we really don't want to take, but we have to take them because we need the money, And I've learned throughout this COVID thing by developing my teaching, and my groups are growing, thank God. And some of the outlets that I'm developing are starting to take root. What I don't want to do when this is over is go back to that.
Yeah.
Because that dampers your soul, and then when your soul is dampered, I think it hinders the way you can play because you're not free. So one of the things I'm really working on right now, to be honest with you, is I'm trying to reach out and ask for people to help sponsor what I do. Because, I kind of got the technology going enough now, but now I'd like to go bigger. So what I started to do at the beginning of the year, I don't know, it's way over there, I can't get it, but I don't know about you, but I'm a list kind of guy that, I got it always in front of me so that I know what it is that I'm trying to accomplish. And once I put something on that board, I don't erase it until it's accomplished, or I realize it's ridiculous. It has to be ridiculous or accomplished, right?
Right.
You can't erase it if it's not one of the two. Like, if you just don't feel like it, well, you were inspired to put it down, right?
Right.
So I put sponsorship down because on Fridays at the beginning of the year, I was able to find this really cool guy who lives in New Jersey. Now, we're not talking about a lot of money, but I said, can you give me enough money so that I could bring a local drummer and a sax or guitar player every week just on Friday? And I just want you to give me, X amount. We're not talking thousands of dollars. We're talking, you know what we're talking about. Just enough so that I don't insult the musicians that have to drive over here. Just, didn't you hate when you go play a gig and you didn't get paid,
Yes.
So you got to have some guarantee, whether it's $20 or $50, you know the number, okay?
Yeah.
So he committed to that, and I said to myself, well, as long as I can make those tips first so that I'm equal to what you guys make to come, and then we split everything, just like a Steve Smith combination deal, right? Everybody's equal because we're all going through this pandemic alike,
Yeah.
It's working. Every Friday, I'm able to play with a band thanks to this sponsor, right? But now I want to try to, fate no boga de solde,
Yeah.
It's not a sin,
I've been thinking about that and actually working a bit towards that. The parent company of Cakewalk, as a matter of fact, Band Lab.
Oh yeah.
I had this idea to put together this show and produce this show out of a recording studio.
Mm-hmm.
And we did do the first one as a proof of concept, Mm-hmm. The idea is much like you're doing, to get great musicians together, play and present music and interview them to talk about the process, kind of a fly on the wall concept.
Got it.
But the most important thing is the sponsorship.
Yeah.
And I say that's the most important, second to what you're actually doing, because right now we're having a rough time. Musicians are having a tough go of it.
Oh man.
And anybody in the arts. I just helped, the club Birdland, which has been a long time club that we've performed at.
Man.
And to see them go through what they went through was really unbelievable to me. Why the big companies, and I don't want to mention any names, but Purell, Clorox,
They're just raking it in, man.
That are raking the money in right now because of this pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't they say, we're going to set aside a couple 100,000 here, a couple 100,000 there, and give it to musicians that are producing good content?
Yeah.
And I've learned that a lot of it is logistics, because they've never had that in place before. They've never thought about that. So logistically, well, and anytime you're dealing with a corporation, you're dealing with a lot of people. So we'll talk to this guy that's in charge of marketing, and he'll talk to this guy, but he doesn't have the say. And then, it's really frustrating. But I have also gone through this sponsorship, and you're sometimes better off going with somebody who has the yes and no capability right from the very beginning
Than try to go through a line of a big corporation. Yeah.
Yeah. But
you got to
really
hit that middle big man.
Yeah.
I hate to use the word man, but to be sexist there, but you got to hit the middle people, not the
middle people,
not the big companies like you're talking about, because you've got to go through so many. Like you said, yeah, I agree with you. That's what I'm hitting right now. I'm hitting the medium, big size people. I just started today. I sent out that 1 million pound letter,
Yeah.
And I took my chance. I'll see if I get that response back. But that's what I'm trying to do right now, is to try to up the game so that when this does come back, we're already in a position to continue to do this.
Right.
I don't think we're ever going to see the ability for many, if ever, the real ability to spontaneously really play together like this. I mean, you got to have somebody being the master and somebody playing along with it, because you know how precise we got to be. We're not talking about even 5 milliseconds. It's got to be like right now.
Right now. Yeah.
So. That's where
I will say that I've been doing a lot with the play along jazz stuff, to help it. And
I put the link, by the way, everybody, that if you look down on the stream, normally I'm over here and I could click and stuff, but I wanted to make it more for me so that I could see your handsome face and your smile and get the vibe from you, and not look over there, and So I wanted to be 100 with you, and I put the links down over there for people. So people, please visit Vinny.com, visit PlayAlongTunes.com, and I even put the PlayAlongJazz.com. I put all three of those links.
Great.
Because that's what I'm playing to tonight, is some of the tracks from our Groove Blue CD.
So one of the things that we've been doing during this pandemic is putting together customized tracks. So say you live close to and you can use Jamulus to play with certain people,
Yes.
Like I play a lot of times with a piano player, and we connect on Jamulus, so we're really close together within
that's not
10
too
minutes
bad.
actually.
Yeah.
But and it works. But a lot of times we want to play with a drummer and a bass player. So what I do is I customize the tracks and then make them available on Play Along Tunes. So we get, we get customized tracks from people, and it doesn't cost a whole lot of money but basically around $25, we can customize tracks pretty quickly and get them to you. That's been a lot of fun. So, for instance, a drummer has already played on some of the stuff that we do, so we'll put a new bass line to it or something like that to customize it.
Make it sound fresh.
Yeah.
See, with our play-alongs, I can make them fresh every time because I'm playing the bass.
That's right.
So for me, it's like playing a new tune, every time. So when I get done with our interview, I'm going to actually play maybe Cherokee or one of those. I like those tracks that we do. Wow, Vinny, man, you look great. I'm just so glad I got to do this with you. That stroke didn't take the better of you, man.
Well, it's I can't wait to get back on stage and put together the final pieces of this.
The big tour.
It's like a puzzle, really. A lot of things are missing in the brain, but then when you get on stage, you can put together the final pieces, or at least know which ones you have to work on then.
Yeah, man.
So,
well, God bless you, man. That's just I feel tickled that I got to be with my friend. I was starting to get bored. I was doing like 5 broadcasts a week, and I started to get bored with my music. And you know how that feels when you start to not like what you're playing. So I changed everything up. On Monday, I feature a student. I let one of my students do a little performance. So that's been really good because it's making them feel like they got to be prepared, Yeah. Because with the live internet, it's not like recital stuff. It's different, But it's starting to feel like a recital there, so that's something new. And then, of course,
great.
I wanted to start this people I admire the most, and so that I get a chance to talk about their life, not just me all the time, because it's always about me, when you're doing it. You get sick of yourself,
You get sick of yourself. I get an image of Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny just hitting himself on the head with a hammer.
Oh, my God. Wow, man. Well, listen, man, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tony, and thanks for keeping the music alive and keeping it going. It's incredible.
You're welcome, Vinny. I can't wait to hit the road with you. So as soon as these mixes come down, I'll share little pieces of them.
Absolutely.
Get everybody excited, and who knows? Maybe you can. Maybe we'll do another segment when you're mastering it. Maybe I could have you come in and master with good audio, and for the audience, just a little bit to tweak a couple things, get people excited about the project. So maybe that'd be something fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, even thinking about it, even the mix, working on that together through a Zoom. I mean, we've never done that before.
Let's do it. And actually, we could use Jamula so it's in stereo. Because we don't have to worry about playing along, right?
Right.
So there's a way I think we can do it, and I've got a couple people on that. I was hoping to use Jamulus. Okay, I'll tell you about Jamulus. I was hoping to use Jamulus to start getting guitar students and drummer students.
Uh-huh.
But it's still not there, really. It's hard to, like they got to play along to me or I got to play along to them, and that's kind of hard,
Let me tell you, I've got some experience because I've been working with it for the past 4 or 5 months. Now, okay. First you have to determine whether or not they have a good internet connection. Yeah. That's first and foremost. Yeah. If they have a bad internet connection or a wavering internet connection, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So, and you can determine that by just typing in fast.com into your browser. That'll tell you what speeds you need. You need to be well over 100 megabytes if you're even going to consider it, because it goes up and down, and you got to keep it constant. Second thing is a good interface with a low latency driver. The computer has got to have a low latency driver. And the stuff that's coming out now is you have to think about the connection to the computer. USB is old news, for instance.
Oh, and so you got to go in light pipe.
Unfortunately, they're not going to be as low latency as USB-C, which is a newer connection.
I have that. Okay, so because mine is like PreSonus, and it's going in on the old. Maybe I should just switch the input, huh? Put it on the USB-C. Will that fix things?
Absolutely. You're going to get faster connection that way. You're going to get less latency with the USB-C connection.
Okay. I know my USB-C seems to work better than the other two, even if it's a powered hub. So, okay. See, I learned something right here. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I want to do,
Yeah. And then from the you can measure the with the Jamulus software, you can measure how well you're doing that, and there's a bunch of tricks you can learn, and I would suggest setting up your own server at your house so that everything originates from a good connection, because you've got a solid internet connection there, and if you allow people to connect to that, it's going to be faster.
You just taught me a lot.
I have a server here at my house, and when I rehearse a whole band here, and it's a pretty decent connection. It's not like we're playing in person, but it is a few millisecond delay that we can deal with, and we can rehearse.
You just taught me a lot. You just taught me. So do you think if I have the latest Presonus audio box, it should be decent enough for that, right?
The Presonus stuff is
solid,
is one
right?
of the fastest, one of the lowest latency.
Okay, I was getting ready to sell everything again.
Yeah, if you bought that within the last couple of months, that's great.
Okay,
and I would just say that you look for low latency for anybody listening. Look for low latency audio interfaces.
Gotcha.
That's going to be your best bet.
Gotcha.
And then if you don't have the ability to go out, because there's a lot of people that are hurting right now, if you don't have the ability to go out and get one of those, try the ASIO for all drivers, which are free. Mm-hmm. And basically, those drivers are built for Jamulus. The ASIO for all is a really fast driver, really consistent connection.
Gotcha.
And that's what I use.
Okay, gotcha. God bless you, Vinny.
God bless you too, Tony.
So keep in touch with me when you're ready to do the mix, and we'll do a little test before we do this.
That sounds like a blast.
We'll let everybody kind of like come in on the mix a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, see, those are things
great.
I love to do, man. That's going to be fun. All right,
Yeah.
brother. Well, listen, we'll talk soon. Be careful, okay?
Okay.
I got to run back to the show over here.
Yeah, back to the show. Great talking with you,
God
Tony.
bless,
Thanks
Vinny.
so much.
Thank you, sir. Be good,
Bye-bye.
okay? Thank you. Wow, everybody, that's Vinny Valentino. What a guy, man. Just super, 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 super. That's all I can continue to say. And you could see how I lit up when we started talking, because this guy is just, he's just beautiful. So, speaking of sponsors, on Friday, I found this really wonderful friend. We became friends. And because we became friends, he offered to help me a little bit. And I've got wonderful friends. So I do a little segment called, Creating Health, Mind, Body, and Spirit. It's not mine. It's his. But before I do that, I want to play a song from these play-along tunes, and I want to take you to the website, and I'm going to go ahead and find Vinny's text here and take you to the play-along, since we're still on that. I'm all about wanting to help my friends. That's first and foremost when it comes to, let me go to playalongjazz.com. Here we go. I'll bring it into this feed. Here it is. There it is. So there's playalongjazz.com, and go there, and you can buy, like, for a reasonable price, whole libraries of stuff. So what I'm going to play along to right now, you can get it over there, and he's got it mixed different ways. So the whole mix that we did is in this playalongjazz.com website. Please support Vinny. Go over there and get some play-alongs to practice along, so when I invite you on the show, you'll have something good to play. Okay? All right. Okay, so let me see. What am I going to play? I'm going to play the song that introduced Steve Smith to me via Vinny Valentino. This happened all the way over in Indonesia with Roy Hargrove playing the trumpet, another lost treasure. But, man, was he a cool guy. So I'm going to go ahead and play Cherokee with a funky version. And let me get all the sounds right before I hit the buttons. And here we go.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Take it, Vinny. Take the bridge. Hey Herb, how's it going today? Reggie, what's going on? Hey Craig, how's it going, man? Rudy, hey, Fiore. Oh. Oh, yeah, man, that's
1,
Cherokee.
2,
Whoa, it's
1.
going to play again. That's featuring the great Vinny Valentino on guitar and the great Steve Smith, who happens to be my next interview on People I Admire Most next week. So start spreading the word that the great, yes, that is, the great Steve Smith will be right here in the studio to talk to y'all. Yeah. So that's from the Play Along Jazz category catalog that you can get from the album that we put out together with Groove Blue Organ Trio, a coalition, so to speak, of people who love each other and love to play. And that can't be better than that. And I am so happy to see my friend Guy Norelli is here. Guy, God bless you. Welcome back, man. Man, I'm tickled. My heart is fluttering just because I've been so worried about you, and I'm just so glad you're here, my man. Oh my God, Guy Norelli is back. That dude is number one, man. He's one of the kindest people you'll ever get to meet. Maybe one of these days, Guy, we got to get you back on the show, okay? We got a goal for you. All right. Well, before I go, I have a series that I like to bring, and it's about creating health. And so I would like to bring Dr. Davis on board so he can tell us a little bit of some information to help us cope with this pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Davis is in the house. Dr. Davis, what's going on? Oh, what just happened? Oh, no. Wait. No, you can't do that. There he is.
Welcome again to Creating Health, Mind, Body, and Spirit. I'm Dr. Ken Davis, and I hope all are well. And at the time of this recording, we, as many, suffered a major snowstorm here in the East Coast, and everybody's digging out. One of the major ones in the East Coast in New York City. This will go down in history as another major event. I hope all of you have been enjoying these videos that I've been making. And again, I'm grateful that Tony has allowed me to create this platform to help all of you out there who are loving and enjoying Tony's music as well as myself. I am a B3 lover since I'm 12 years old, and I am a student of Tony's as well. So, and I look forward also to every time I get the opportunity to listen to Tony and learn from him as well. As we continue on with these videos, just in summary, last time or last week, I began the journey with you all to be able to create a clarity of your mind, to be able to look at your dream life. And the assignment was, if there were no rules and I couldn't fail and money's not an issue, what would my dream business life look like? And what would my dream personal life look like? And it's okay if you did one and not the other. If you did do that, then go to that one, whether it's your personal life or your business life. Again, if there's no rules, I couldn't fail, and money's not an issue. And as I mentioned last time, over the next several weeks, these videos are all going to build on top of one another as well. So what I wanted you to do is I wanted you, as you wrote this down, and as many pages as you want, no rules, can't fail, money's not an issue. I then asked you, once you wrote that down, to put that assignment away for several days, take it out, look at it, make any changes or any updates that you wanted to. And then after that, I had asked you to, going back to the first video that we did together, is the be part, be, do, have. Who do I need to be inside, underneath the skin, to have my life be that way? So again, in this assignment of no rules, can't fail, money's not an issue, I wanted you to make a list of the be part of you. Well, who would you need to be or become to have this life, this dream life? Would maybe I need to exercise more, eat better, lose weight, stand tall, talk faster, get more sleep, wear different clothing, comb my hair differently, and so onward and onward and onward again. So after writing those out, what I then wanted you to do is I wanted you to rate on a scale of -10 to +10 of all the things that you wrote about who you'd need to be to have this dream life. And again, there could be 3 of them, or there could have been 33 of these particular components of your personality, yourself, that would need to be this way. So I wanted you to rate each of these categories that you listed in this assignment from -10 to +10. Also, another thing that it's important to understand in the way in which your brain works, so to speak, is that your brain primarily processes information a lot on a pleasure-pain model, which means that the brain, and you can really say consciousness, will always move us in a direction of an avoidance of pain to get to pleasure, even if there's a cost involved. And as we know, many people move to pleasure through means that are not necessarily best for our health and our well-being. Alcohol, food, and other things could be a stimuli that gets us to pleasure rather than out of, it gets us to pleasure and out of pain. And there's better alternatives, of course, for that. The point I'm getting at and what I'm driving to is that if I'm a -8 in my ability to talk faster and communicate and have a higher self-esteem of myself, the brain cannot accept me initially going from a -8, if I rate myself that way, to a +8 initially. But it can allow me to go initially from a -8 to a plus to a -6, and then a -2, and then a 0. So this next technique that I now want you to begin to play with and implement into this process is called the quality quantifier technique. So what I would like you to do is I'd like you to take this week, let's say 3 of the aspects of your personality that would need to be a new way, that were your most, let's call it the minus side of the equation. So let's say I'd have to exercise, and right now I'm not, so I'm going to classify myself as a -8 on that level. So the quality quantifier technique, that you can begin to shift your consciousness to a point where we can anchor another way of being first in our mind. So what I would like you to do again is pick this week 3 to 5 aspects, as I mentioned, of your personality that are the most, what you would call, on the minus side. Take one initially, and through the practice of visualization, I want you to see yourself in your mind at that minus number. So let's say I'm a -8. So the process will be to see if you could go from a -8 or the highest number, 2 to 3 positive steps. So what would, if I needed to exercise or lose weight and I was a -8, what would I look like if I was a -6? So what I do is that to get to -6, I see myself in my mind doing the things necessary and how I would look at a -6. And once I get to, whether it takes 30 seconds or 3 minutes or there's no timeline, see if you can go higher. See if you get to -4. Then see if you could go to -2. See if you could picture what 0 would look like. Remember, we started at -8. What does 0 look like? Then see if you could go to +2. What would +2 look like? And then +4. So you want to move incrementally to the positive side, seeing yourself. And let's say you can only get to this week or whatever in your exercise to a +3 from a -8. That's a big shift. When you get to the optimal point, I want you to hold it by taking a deep breath. And then what you're going to do is you're going to create what's called an anchor. An anchor is something that's going to anchor that feeling into your being. And I usually tell individuals, my patients, that anchor could be a word association, or it could be like a finger gesture. Let's say an anchor could be like taking your thumb and your index finger and just pressing the button like this. Or a word, music, B3, Tony, whatever. So again, when you get to the optimal level in that aspect of your B part that needs to change, let's say, as I mentioned, you started at a -8, and as far as you can go this day is a +3. When you get to the optimal level in the plus column and you can't go anymore, then I want you to create a word association or a finger gesture. And then what I want you to do is that it's almost like you're going to say to yourself the word now, like you're going to press the button or the buzzer. So for me, let's say I went in exercise and I'm at a +3 from a -8. To myself, I'm going to say the word now. And I've made a finger gesture where I'm going to put my thumb to my index finger. It could be anything that you create. And I see that in my mind. And I say to myself the word now. And I press, I make a gesture, I hold the press, and I keep saying now, 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 silently. Now, and I keep pressing. I'm anchoring that feeling in, getting the brain to accept this new way of being. And then after doing that a bunch of times, I take a nice deep breath in. And I blow it out. Now, once that's done, we then want to go back and we want to see if we could recreate the -8 feeling again. Let's go back to -8 and see how -8 again. And the reason we do -8 or whatever that minus optimal was, we want to do our quality quantifier by seeing if we could return back to that state of that +8 or whatever that plus optimal number was, going from -8. So as I return back to that state of -8, I'm going to then, when I say again the word now, I'm going to press my button or use my word association. Again, I'm using my thumb and my index finger. And I want to see if I can recreate that state. Boom. Almost like instantaneously, where I'm going from -8 to plus, that plus optimal number for the day. So I go back and I see the -8. And then I press my button and I say now. And I do it over, now, now, now. And I keep pressing it until I've recreated that feeling, that state of being that was that high level a few minutes previously. And once I'm there, I lock it in and I take a deep breath and blow it out. So now you have an anchor that you can go back and you could recreate that state of beingness anytime you want. And you want to do this technique with any of those minus numbers. Remember I said at the beginning of the video that we want to do this. Let's start this week, take 3 or 4, no more than 3 or 4 of those those higher minus numbers to get to the plus. Remember, we want to go from several increments, -8 or -10 to -8. What's -6 look like? What does a -4 look like? What does a 0 look like? What's a +2? When you get to the optimal component, remember, create a word association in your mind or create a hand gesture. When you get there, say to yourself, could be out loud or silently, now, and then press your button. Press it over and over. We'll use that word association. Music, music, music. Tony, B3. Whatever that is for yourself. And that begins to anchor this new pattern in, bringing you from, so to speak, the pain to the pleasure component. And the more you do that, and now go back, once you've done that, see if you can recreate the negative state. Press your button, see if you can recreate it, bring you right back to where you were in the plus component. And now you can practice and use this anytime you want as an anchor in your life on a daily basis. Changing, remember, the be part. Who you be determines how well what you do works. Who you be brings things from you, not to you. And that's what this is all about. So this is the quality quantifier technique. Try it, work with it, practice it, and then we'll continue on in our next video. Thanks for your time and attention. Again, I appreciate the opportunity, and we'll see each other next week. I'm Dr. Ken Davis. This is Creating Health, Mind, Body, and Spirit.
Thank you, Kenny. That was a great video. We appreciate it. I'd like to thank our sponsors tonight. Craig, God bless you. Thank you very much for your tip. Ladies and gentlemen, you can give a tip pretty easy. There's a way down on the bottom to do it. Couple of links, and we're going to cut that.
Welcome.
Hey, Dr. Davis was from last week. He's still in the house. Hey, thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. And Debbie Hill, I love you. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. I hope everything's great in Toronto. Well, thanks for joining the show. I'm going to take it out with a little song from the Groove Blue Organ Trio, dedicated to my friend, Guy Norelli, that we studied this song together. I hope you enjoy it. We'll see you next week.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I like to work late, you know. God bless you all. We'll see you Friday with the trio. God bless you. Thank you for joining the show. Thank you.